Well, greetings, people of the internet. Unky Joe here. Unky Joe's Playhouse today, part 3 of our DIY Windows-based NAS. So, if you've been following along in our DIY Windows NAS series, the whole idea is to build something out of parts we had laying around. All of us do. Well, most of us do. And make an effective use of Windows, which all of us have, and turn it into a NAS, something you could use in your house to share files, to run programs, shared applications, Docker containers, I don't know, other Windows programs like Plex, MB, which we're going to cover today. Well, Plex and Jellyfin we're going to cover today. We've already talked about some of the more advanced topics like, file sharing. I showed you how to set that up. I also showed you how to set up Docker, how to put Windows subsystem for Linux on there, so you can dabble with the Linux if you want to. And in future episodes, we'll probably talk more about running Docker applications in addition to Windows applications and giving us the best of both worlds. So if you find this kind of stuff interesting and informative, give us a thumbs up down below and leave your comments in the comments section. So now it's time to continue on with the video. So let's go. Now, it wouldn't be much of a home entertainment NAS if we didn't have some way to share music, videos, and podcasts, and that kind of thing. So you have a wide variety of Windows programs that are out there to use. And this is why everybody's got Windows. So we might as well be using Windows, what we have, rather than having to pay for something else. If you want to tinker with Proxmox or TrueNAS or FreeNAS or Unraid, that's fine, do it. But most people have Windows at their disposal, and I don't think they realize how powerful it can be. So we're going to run a couple of different applications to serve our home media center needs, namely Plex and then Jellyfin. Jellyfin or MB. I kind of prefer its interface a little bit to Jellyfin, but Jellyfin's, I believe, more customized one. Again, I may be wrong on that, but let's get it installed right now. So I've already gone out, taken the liberty of downloading the Plex media server. So we're just going to double click on this and we're going to get that installed, and then we'll try to run through the initial configuration. So welcome to the Plex media server. And this is the beauty of Windows applications. They just, hey, install, do it for me. It resolves all your dependencies, anything you need. That's something that Linux doesn't always do, but it's gotten better at over the years. But most people have a Windows machine at home that can be easily converted to do what I'm doing right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on Finish. And it's going to update the library, and then it's going to launch a web browser and then take us into Plex. Now, here's what you got to do. You got to sign on to Plex in order to use it. So if you don't have it, you need to set up an account. I'm going to go ahead and continue with my email. So, and this is one of the things about Plex. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a big fan of Plex. I don't like the way they handle remote access. I don't like how they handle offline. There's a bunch of things I don't like about Plex. It's slow. The interface is slow and kludgy, and they really haven't improved that interface. They've added more features, and Plex is like Windows, Microsoft. They like to change settings every time they update it. So buyer beware. But I use it because everybody I know uses it. So it's going to ask me to give my server a name. I'm going to go ahead and use the name of Zeus. I already have some other servers, media servers. And now comes the meat and potatoes. So it's very important you have your data on your NAS, and since it's locally, that's going to make things very easy for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a library, and I'm going to add a movie library, and I'm going to call this Action and Adventure. Now, you can just lump all your movies under one folder called Movies if you want to. However, they recommend you label each movie with a separate subfolder and then put your movie into that folder. So I don't have mine that way. I have mine in individual folders, like ordered by action, adventure, comedy, drama. It just makes things easier than looking through a big old list. I'm going to click on next, and then I'm just going to browse for the media folder. We know it's on the P drive. We know it's under archive. We know it's under media. We know it's under video, and there it is, action adventure. So once I've selected that, there's the path. I click on add, and then add library. And I can add another one if I want to. So let's add TV shows. And we'll leave that name. And then we'll browse. And we'll go to the P drive. We'll go to archive, media, videos, and go on down to TV shows and add. Add the library. And let's go ahead and add some music. So we'll add some, how about music right here? Here we go. So this is music. Next. Browse. This one's under the P drive, under archive, under media, under music. We'll click on add library. So we got the 3 libraries added that I want to. We'll click on next and then click on done, and you will see that this thing will go out there and start scanning your media. And let's see. There's cartoons, there's action adventure, there's TV shows, and there's music. So if we go to action adventure, we go to my library, you can see it's now scanning all my titles under my library and creating a folder, jacket, getting the metadata, etc., all that good stuff. And now we've got, we apparently have Plex up and running. Now this should be TV shows on Zeus, and again, it's going out and scanning. How's it doing on the music on Zeus? Well, it says music is empty, but that's just because we're not giving it enough time to scan the libraries, and you can see it's doing that now. So again, your mileage might vary with Plex. I've used it for years. I've paid for it. I pay my $5 a month for at least 10 years, I guess. And I do have a use for it, but my preference is MB or Jellyfin. But take that with a grain of salt. Your mileage might vary. But there's how you install Plex. Very simple to get it up and running on its feet. Again, we're not going to go into a deep dive on Plex. There are other people out there that are better at it than I am. I just want to show you, I just hope you're starting to see now the potential of this home media server. I'll be able to access this Plex from anywhere on my network, from my Roku devices, from my Apple TV devices, on my phone, on my tablet, etc. I'll be able to do the same thing with Jellyfin as well. But this is how we do a basic setup of Plex. So the next setting, or the next program I want to install is Jellyfin. Now keep in mind the Plex Media Center is going to be pounding my CPUs because it's going out and getting metadata on all these videos and labeling them. So that's pretty processor intensive when it does it. So you see, it's a good thing we've got that Ryzen 7 and we're putting it to good use. And I would love to tell you what the current wattage is. In fact, let me do that. I have to get a flashlight out so I can shine it on the meter. And right now that Ryzen 7 is pulling 100 watts of power doing that scanning. But let's get Jellyfin installed. So we'll double click on Jellyfin. And the installer will come up. We'll tell it yes. Okay, it'll ask for details. I agree. Now, one thing you want to be careful of, pay attention. You want to do a basic install recommended. Don't install it as a service unless you were doing it on a server, and then there are special things that need to be done. And it also recommends you don't change any of the default folders. You leave them alone. And we got plenty of drive space, so we'll go ahead and accept it with all the defaults. Now, sometimes you need to be aware of what port your server is going to be running on. Jellyfin runs on 8096, and I believe Plesk runs on 32,400. So they're not going to conflict with one another. But be aware that if you're going to run Jellyfin and MB they do share the same port. So you need to be aware of that. When you go to set up NB or Jellyfin, you'll have to change the default port that it uses. And that should be, let's see if it's going to bring Jellyfin up automatically, or if it's something I need to double click on. It's probably something I need to double click on. All right, I should have gone to this address up here to start the wizard. So it was trying to log me in when I hadn't even completed a login. Now it's not letting me select a language either. So let's see here. Next, there we go. Now it's letting me select English. Now is where I can create my user. We'll go ahead and create our user and give them a super secret password. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about Jellyfin other than to help you get it set up. So again, just like we did under Plex, we're going to add a media library. We're going to tell it this is movies. And we'll call this Action Adventure. And then we're going to add a folder. It's on the P drive, archive, media, video, action adventure. Okay. And we have some other options down here. We can do our preferred download, language, enable or disable the library. Some of these are advanced. I just leave the defaults. And again, these down here are advanced topics we're not going to worry about. I'm going to click on OK. And then I'm going to add our TV shows as well. So they just label that shows. I'm going to call it TV shows. Now, the reason I'm using a different content type is so that Plex and MB both know where to go to get their metadata. You don't want it going to looking in the video database for TV shows for the metadata. All right, so we've set that up. Tell it OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a music library as well. Why not? And music, and then we'll go to the P drive, archive, media, music, and OK. OK. And now we've added all of our libraries. We're English, United States. Allow remote connections to the server. I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Again, an advanced topic. Click on finish. And then I just need to log in. Now is recognize this screen. This is what we were at before. All right. Sign in. And then bing, bang, boom. You'll be presented with the Jellyfin interface. Not a lot on here right now because it's still going out and collecting metadata. In fact, if we come over here, nope, if we go here, home, go to dashboard, you will see what it's doing. So here's your dashboard. It gives you some information on the activity of the last user, the server name. You can scan all your libraries from here. You can see the status. You can see the status of your media library scan, right? And then one of the more interesting things is down here. Where is it? Well, dashboard general. Let's go playback. Here we go, transcoding. Where it says hardware acceleration, we should be able to select the NVIDIA encoder. And by default, it's going to select the codecs that it enables hardware decoding for. Okay, we can also do tone mapping if we need to, etc. Again, these are advanced topics. I'm just going to turn on the transcoding. Click on save. And then it tells you it may cause instability in some environments, okay? Make sure drivers are fully up to date. I got it. You would be best suited to use, if this was not an AMD machine, if we had an Intel CPU with an internal GPU, you're as much better suited to Plex and MB and Jellyfin. It's made specifically for streaming and compressing video on the fly. It's even better at it than NVIDIA is, but since we have an NVIDIA card in here, that's what we're going to use. So we'll do that. We'll come back here to Plex. We'll go in here to Action Adventure. and you'll see it's starting to get some of the titles in here, and some of them it's not working correctly. And this is another place where this is a place where Plex excels over MB, is it finding metadata the for the all the formats you have, for all the files you have. And part of this is due to the fact that Plex is just better at it, and part of it has to do with the fact that I haven't labeled some of these movies correctly when I ripped them and copied them to the location they're at. So a lot of that's on me. Let's see how they doing on music. Yeah, it's starting to get the music in here. Starting to get the cover art. Let's see, how about TV shows? This is the one that's going to take the longest. But there you go. It's starting to get all the stuff in here. Let's see if it has episode data. Yeah, it has their season 1. Oh, don't want to play that. Well, we can play a second or two of it. Preview. There we go. But you can see all the different how MB lines it up. Now, this is all customizable. You can customize all of this. The layout, how it presents it to you in Jellyfin. I'm sure there's a bunch of add-ins for MB or for Jellyfin that allow you to make changes to its setup. Again, if you go here to the dashboard, you've got lots of settings on how you want everything to appear. And you can change it by user. You can also set up user rights. You can give access to outside users. In fact, I make my MB server available to a chosen few through a web interface on the World Wide Web. And that way, if they have something they want to watch one night, they can get into my system and watch it. And it just works. It really does. So let's see. Let's go to localhost. And let's go ahead and we'll play. I'm just going to start a video. And let me mute the volume. And I'm going to let it show me the... Okay, and it's coming up. Let's see, we got subtitles. Turn that on. That usually gives it a nice little... It's going to resync. There we go. All right, so if we come back now to our dashboard, so now you'll see that under active devices, we have Edge Chromium running. And if we want to get information, you'll see that we click on the information and the media is being converted into a format that is compatible with the device. 114 frames per second, 11.5 megabits per second, H.264 AAC. Reason for transcoding: subtitle codec is not supported. So if you're old like me and you need those closed captions, you're going to need a video card to handle that transcoding. That has just been my experience. And you'll see what I'm talking about here because it does use the video card. I always keep those closed captions on because I don't like missing any of the dialogue. And you see how it's all herky-jerky? You notice that? See what kind of impact it's having on the system. Let's see what's eating up all my CPU cycles. Yeah, and you can see it's a combination of Plex Media Scanner is still going out there and scanning. Jellyfin is running FFmpeg. So yeah, it's pretty taxing on this system. But keep in mind, I just installed it. I haven't even really completed the scan on the video. It's doing its thing. I can't show too much of that. Don't want to get a copyright strike. And there you go. There's MB now set up and running on our Windows NAS unit, running Windows 11, and it's working hard, as you can see. But that's nice. It's nice to see Windows being put to work, adding new media and so forth, because this always takes a while to get through this. And it could be going out and generating thumbnails under Plesk and generating intros and editing the outros so that you don't have to watch, so you can skip through the intros to the videos. So there you go. We've accomplished 2 more things on my bucket list for this DIY Windows NAS, and that was to get Plex and Jellyfin running. Now, MB's not much different. The difference is you pay for some of the features of MB that Jellyfin kind of includes. So If you're interested in the history, do a little perplexity.ai search. Tell you about the history of MB and Jellyfin. It'll tell you how the programs forked off from one another and all the details you could ever desire to have. Now, I'm about to say something that's going to be very controversial. Well, maybe not. I hate Plex. I hate it with a passion. I've hated it for years. Okay. It works, gets the job done. Everybody's using it. I know you want to be a cool kid on the block, but don't be afraid to tell the truth. The truth will set you free. And I'm going to set myself free. I hate Plex. I think it's slow. I think it's cumbersome. It does some things very well. It identifies media very well. It does a very good job of that compared to MB and Jellyfin. And I had to know, I run all of them, right? But it's also so slow. The interface, I'll give you an example. And I've shown this to people out on the internet because they don't believe me when I tell them it takes minutes sometimes for Plex to start up. And I'm running on an 11th gen i5, Prometheus or Gen 10. I mean, it's not a slow machine. It's got plenty of RAM and SSD, NVMe SSDs in it. There's no reason it should run that slow, but it does. I mean, it takes upwards of 2 minutes for it to start and start displaying anything. And then to play, it does okay. Once you start playing a video under Plex, you're fine. But getting there and starting it up from scratch is a little, and it just annoys the hell out of me for an application I'm paying for. You think they could fix something like that. But then again, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say. It may be something they're not even aware of. Or maybe it's my uncommon set of situations and circumstances and configurations that just Plex goes, what? I don't know. But Sakura's my witness. He's seen it before. Now, Jellyfin / MB, on the other hand, it's very fast. It's very fast to play. It works well with Intel, and so does Plex. In fact, if you're going to run Plex or MB, I recommend you have an Intel built-in video because you get quick sync, and it's much more efficient at encoding and decoding video and stuff like that. It's even better than NVIDIA, in my opinion. But I have NVIDIA cards in there, but MB and Jellyfin can. And when I talk about MB, I'm talking about Jellyfin as well. So we'll just kind of put it right there in its little box. And when I say MB by mistake, I mean Jellyfin as well. It's just fast. It's lightning fast. I like the interface. It's quick. It gets out of the way. You can share your collection of MB with people outside of your home network. I've done it. I do it through a proxy server, as a matter of fact. Only legal, stuff. But anyway, I digress. And I tell tales sometimes. This time, I don't know. Am I? Am I not? Anyway, back to the subject at hand. I just love MB / Jellyfin. It just works. It gets out of the way and it works. What is it not good at? Well, it's not really good at identifying video unless you have the video perfectly spelled, worded, and in the proper format. Now, I'm a big advocate of creating subfolders by genre under my movies folder. I don't just put everything under one folder because I'm an organization freak. Even though I'm the most disorganized person that I know, when it comes to my Plex and my MB, I want it organized by genre. And so I've started that from the beginning. So I create a subfolder called Action Adventure, and I put all my movies in there. Now, you're supposed to create further subfolders and put the name of the movie in the subfolder and then the movie in the subfolder. That's the proper way to do it, evidently. I don't know. I haven't read the manual. I don't have that kind of time on my hands. And I'm a man, for crying out loud. We never read the manuals. But is that a true thing? I don't know. But MB is just fast, man. It works. And the subtitles work and the closed captions work. And it's speedy. Just try it. Don't take my word for it. You've seen me demo it here. Try it for yourself. Don't ever take me anything for what I say to be the gospel, because it could be your set of circumstances is different. And MB / Jellyfin gets along with NVIDIA cards, AMD cards, and even better with Intel with the quick sync. That's the good stuff. So there's a lot of things you can do if you're stuck with old equipment and you're stuck with Windows. This will work on Windows 10 as well. I'm just using Windows 11 because I have it, you know. You can get a copy of Windows 11 for about 20-30 bucks online, and perfectly legit as well. Just go out there and find it. You know, Microsoft in a lot of cases will give it to you if you've got Windows 10. They'll just give you a Windows 11 license for free, gratis. So that's what I'm running. But you could do this on Windows 10, including the Windows subsystem for Linux. But Windows 10 is going to be end of life in 2025, and 2025 is here, so you can't beat them. You got to join them, you know. And there are ways to get. There's lots of creators out there that have shown you ways to pull some of the crap out of Windows 11. I've got mine down to a streamlined copy that I'm quite happy with the performance and the RAM usage, and so it doesn't bother me to run Windows 11. But you could do this on Windows 10, but why? The other thing I really like is the fact that, you know, Windows is ubiquitous. The driver support is probably the best of any OS out there. You know, Linux is pretty damn good too. We'll do that at another time. I've done lots about Linux and Proxmox and stuff like that. But I think people forget sometimes, well, Windows is dead. No, the majority of the world runs on Windows, unfortunately. Take that for what it's worth, good or the bad. It's just a fact. Although Linux is getting a little bit more market share. And those of you that use OS 10, well, you're just a rare breed indeed. I do mean the Apple folks. And I count myself among you. I have what do I have, an M2 Mac Mini here? M1? I don't know. Someone will tell me, I'm sure. So there you go. Like it or hate it, Windows is not going anywhere. And if you've got a copy laying around in an old PC, you might as well put it to use. This is not the end of this series of videos, but I'm going to move on to another subject for the next video, and then we'll come back and do some more stuff on this Windows NAS that we've created, because, you know, we can do lots with it moving forward, and I'll show you what I'm talking about as time goes on. But for now, we're going to put this baby to bed so I can move on to other projects that are pressing and need my immediate attention. So if you found this video in any way entertaining and informative, please leave a like down below, thumbs up, leave your comments down in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos when they come up. In addition to that, we now have another channel on YouTube called Unky Joe's Aquatics. So for those of you that are fish freaks and aquarium freaks out there, like I am, come check out Unky Joe's Aquatics. We'll make sure we have a link in our favorites on our YouTube page, and we'll put it in the footing of every video that we have. We'll make sure that link is in there. Go over and check us out. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming back to see me. And don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.
I've been watching old Unky Joe. From Texas heat to where the cacti grow. Fixing server solar power in the land. Hoping that his plans all stand. Making life a touch more bright underneath those southern lights.